news happens while I'm away. That is the pattern that we've all seen established. And while I was away, the ultra-traditional Orthodox tradcon far right in Greece got a win by returning with a V more powerfully than ever before. You see, Greece has rediscovered homosexuality. They legalized gay marriage. Look, they're gay. Isn't that crazy? What? Why'd that happen? Why does my computer do anything? I don't understand anything about this fucking machine. Well, anyway, look, gay people. Huh? Gay? That's pretty cool. You hear about gay people? I've heard about these guys before. Not heard anything good, mind you, but yeah. Believe it or not, Greece is actually the first majority Orthodox country to go ahead and legalize gay marriage. This is it, folks, right? I mean, this is the big reunification. Which crusade was it that led to the split between the Catholics and the Orthodox Church? They used to be like brothers in Christ. The great divide between Christians who have big furry hats and beards and Christians who don't and don't, torn in the Crusades, now reunited. Which crusade was that? Hold on, I'm actually really curious. Which crusade, Catholic, Orthodox split? The Fourth Crusade and the downfall of Constantinople. I don't remember the details. I think a bunch of Catholics, like, had a bit of a gamer moment, and the Orthodox Church didn't like it. I mean, the East-West Schism, or the Great Schism of 1054, well, they're being reunited in the form of homosexuality now, because the Orthodox Church is catching up with the Catholic world, is what I would say if it wasn't for the fact that the Orthodox Church in Greece is very opposed to this this gay marriage law. You know, one step at a time, right? Is that a dono alert? Disgusting. Giving me support and money. How dare you? I can't believe you. God, it feels weird to not look at chat.
Greece, where Parliament has voted to legalize same-sex marriage, making it the first Orthodox Christian country to do so.
I said that.
The law change was opposed by the Orthodox Church, which claimed it would threaten what it called traditional families. But supporters say the change is long overdue and a significant advance for Greek society.
We looked at this. This guy's ripping my shit.
Of Athens, as crowds celebrated a milestone moment for same-sex couples. Supporters watched the vote from outside Greece's parliament, bursting with pride as the results came through.
It's a historic day. We're so very happy with this result. We've been waiting for it.
Impressive demonstration of homosexual phenotypes here, I have to say. You know, the allegations are not being beat. This really is a big deal, you know. What with the whole, like, creeping spread of fascism thing, the idea of, like, any kind of meaningful pushback here. I didn't mean to hit unpause. Any kind of meaningful pushback here is significant, especially because, you know, the Russian Orthodox Church is kind of its own deal. Like, it's not like the Pope with the Catholics, where there's one Pope and he's got a ton of influence just broadly in Catholicism. The Orthodox churches have, like, you know, very distinctive regional movements and power structures. But at the same time, right, given the fact that, like, so much of Western far right, you know, return with a V, you know, sort of like conservative cultural push. So much of that is coming from, like, an idealization of the Orthodox, if nothing else, right? Like, there's a lot of alignment, you know, with Russia. Having this happen, I feel, is a pretty meaningful pushback. It's pretty cool, I think.
Long time, and finally, love wins everything.
The bill had faced strong opposition from Greece's Orthodox Christian Church.
Yeah, there you go.
Despite the criticism, Greek public opinion on same-sex marriage is narrowly in favour.
Nice.
In Parliament, the change managed to garner rare cross-party consensus. Left-wing, social democratic and conservative lawmakers all supported the motion, which was led by Greece's Prime Minister.
That's really cool. I have a feeling that a lot of this is, a lot of this actually has to do with Russia. I have a feeling that a lot of this is because of Russia, as a matter of fact. Because, like, the Russian invasion of Ukraine has prompted a very, very, very strong... We only see part of it over here in America, but in Europe, the, like, divide between pro-EU and anti-EU, pro-Russia, the schism there has gotten a lot louder and a lot wider because Russia has kind of, you know, polarized the issue. So, you know, Russia is extremely openly anti-gay. That is one of the main things that they are. So being pro-gay marriage isn't just a progressive thing, it's a pro-EU thing. And Greece is very decidedly more on the EU side of things than about the Russian, you know, than with the Russian side of things. So there's more of a, like, you know, alignment in that direction, I feel. You know, thank you, Russia. Thank you. Thank you, Russia. Everyone say thank you, Russia. I'll assume that you are saying it. If I believe you're saying it.
Today is a day of joy, because starting tomorrow, another barrier between us is removed to create...
Interesting suit construction. Are those wider sleeve openings? What is it about the silhouette of this? I feel like... I like the sleeve structure. Actually, not a bad suit. I like the swoop.
Bridge of coexistence in a free state with free citizens.
The new law also strengthens parental rights for same-sex couples. While critics say there is still room for improvement, it is a big step for the predominantly Orthodox Christian nation. The first to say yes to...
Man, American cultural hegemony, stay winning, dude. This is such an American progressive flag. The black and brown means, like, what? It doesn't mean, like, black and indigenous. It's like POC and indigenous, right? That is a very American conception of race. It's just fun. Yeah, I mean, it's like you can see, like, far right American talking points all around the world, like, directly imported from America. So it's just funny, you know, the ongoing cultural victory.
The first to say yes to same-sex marriage, with many hopeful that more will follow.
More on this from freelance journalist Georgios Christidis, who joins us from Thessaloniki in Greece. Welcome to DW, Georgios. So this bill got something like a 176 majority in Greece's 300-seat parliament. Is support in Greek society equally clear-cut?
I think Greek society is pretty much evenly divided on this issue. So
Let me check that.
50-50 almost
Greek opinion,
percentages in
gay
favor
support,
and against the bill. And this also division also cuts across political parties. I heard before.
Hey, whoa, it's not 50-50. From ekathemirini.com. I guess that's Greek. Nearly 55% of Greeks support gay marriage. That's not 50-50. That's a 10-point difference between support and not support or indifferent. And that doesn't even mean 45% is opposed, right? That just means 45% is both opposed and indifferent, right? That's not bad. 53% believe gay couples should have the right to adopt. That's only a little bit worse than America. 41.9% are in favor of the legalization allowing same-sex marriage. Most likely agree with the plan. Okay, yes, this is the broader thing. Same-sex marriage is flatly opposed by 35, with additional 7.4 saying they most likely disagree and 2.7 choosing not to answer. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. No, honestly, that's pretty good. I feel. Huh. Sentiment shifted markedly, however, on the question of whether same-sex couples should be allowed to have children by surrogacy, with 65.6% of respondents opposing. People are so weird about surrogacy. Surrogacy is literally just adoption, but faster. Surrogacy is literally just like it's adoption, but very fast and immediate. People get so weird about it. I don't know. I guess because people think of adoption as like, okay, if no one else wants the kid, then I guess a gay can have them. But then with surrogacy, it's like, oh, you're deliberately subjecting a kid to being raised by two dads or whatever, which, yeah. There is a difference, I guess, in intent, but only if you think that outcomes are worse if you're raised by a gay couple, which the research says there aren't. So
at your report that this was supported by bipartisan vote. This is not exactly the case. So there was 1/3 of the conservative government voted against it. There were some opposition MPs who didn't vote for it as well. So it cuts across political parties, and a very prominent voice, former Prime Minister Samaras of the Conservatives, also voted against it. So it is an issue that still divides Greek society and Greek politics.
And it was much discussed amongst people as well as politicians?
Yes, this has been dominating headlines here for quite a long time. I think the most important thing is are the scenes that your viewers just saw outside Athens. This is a truly historic moment, and it's also a much needed step towards a more liberal direction by the government of Mr. Mitsotakis.
it really is a big deal. Though of course, this does mean that Greece has lost the great civilizational war and proven that it was in fact them and not Turkey who invented homosexuality. You know, this will unfortunately not help in that broader conflict that they've been engaged in for so long.
Coming in the aftermath of heavy criticism from the European Parliament about the state of law in Greece, media freedom, and other such issues. So this is a win for the Prime Minister and a win for the people affected by the bill.
And what difference will this change in the law make to people's lives?
This will make a tremendous difference. First of all, there won't be two-class citizens in Greece.
Well, gay
That's
people
number
can
one.
marry.
It solves a number of practical issues. For example, until now, same-sex couples didn't have the same rights, for example, for both partners to pick up their children from school or going on vacation together or traveling abroad or taking their child to the doctor. So this is absolutely a step in the right direction.
Greece, of course, a predominantly Christian Orthodox country. This has happened despite vocal opposition from the Orthodox Church. Are other Orthodox countries in the region likely to follow suit?
Yes, Greece is setting a very good precedent here, but one should. I'm not sure what's going to happen in other Orthodox countries, but Greece now has a leader of the church in the face of Mr. Hieronymus, who is kind of moderate, and he is not one who will bring out the crowds in large protests and create much of a fuss about it. So I think fears that there will be a huge backlash from the conservative Orthodox Church are a bit overblown. Nevertheless, the church.
I don't know how powerful the Orthodox Church is in Greece. You know, I often think of like one thing that Americans don't really appreciate is how fucking like dominant religion is in the mind of the Americanoid skull, right? Like the Angloid sort of cranial lobe contains a lot of room for religious obsession. If you look at studies on like whether or not people consider religion to be a big part of their life, and you look at Europe, it's like, oh, 27% here do, 24% here do, you know, maybe like 31%. And then you look at America, it's like, nah, 60% of Americans or some shit like that are like incredibly, you know, like we are way more religious. Whereas most of Europe just isn't very religious, which gives me the impression that the Orthodox Church in a lot of cases exists just as like a cultural force for a lot of them and not even as like a religious force, you know? It's probably the same with the Pope, right? In a lot of countries where people aren't like that Catholic, but the Pope still has some sway. It kind of varies, man. Protestantism is so weird. America really is the outlier. Greece has become the first majority Orthodox Christian nation to legalize same-sex marriage under civil law, at least for the near future. It'll almost certainly be the only one. No hope for turnaround in Russia, it seems. Eastern Orthodox leadership, despite lacking a single doctrinal authority, like a pope, has been united in opposing recognition of same-sex relations, both within civil rights and sin. I'm asking this rhetorically because I can't see chat, but like, is there something preventing the Eastern Orthodox Church from having some kind of like pontiff? Is like, because it feels like every religion wants one on some level. Like it's like the crab or the tree where you evolve towards them. Like, is there, or like the caliph, right, where like the caliphate is like hypothetically a thing, but you kind of have to work up to it. Is if there was some gigantic, like, you know, combined Eastern Orthodox sort of civilizational union, would that procure some kind of like Eastern Orthodox pontiff? I don't know. I'm asking rhetorically, honestly. Maybe not. Maybe they already have some kind of like big leader, but nobody gives a shit. Hold on. Leader of Orthodox Church. Holiness Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew. Oh yeah, did you know that Orthodox leaders are called patriarchs? How fucking cool is that? His All Holiness Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew is the 270th successor to the Apostle Andrew and spiritual leader of 300 million Orthodox Christians worldwide. Well, that's cool. We get a photo of Bartholomew on screen? Hell yeah, dude. This is what I mean about the hats. I think that this is like an easy dub over the Catholics. The hats, like the big hats and the beards, I think that's very important. Looks like a wizard. Got its little staff. Alright, well. Sort of critical support to the concept of an Eastern Orthodox pontiff, like ascending, you know, the sort of like Eastern caliphate. Has been united in opposing recognition of same-sex relations, both within its own rights and within the civil realm. Public opinion in majority Orthodox countries has mostly been opposed to, but there are some signs of change. Two small majority Orthodox countries, Montenegro and Cyprus, have authorized same-sex unions in recent years, as did Greece in 2015, before upgrading to this week's full approval of marital status. Nice! Civil unions may become more common among Orthodox countries, gravitating toward the EU. They remain off the table in Russia, really, which has cracked down on LGBTQ+ expression and countries in its orbit. Nice. Eastern Orthodoxy is a socially conservative ancient church. It feels like a weird phrase. I mean, isn't Catholicism also? I feel this feels like a kind of weird, like, Christian European Orientalism, you know, like Orthodoxy, the strange mysticism from the Far East, an ancient church with rituals shrouded in mystery. You know, it's maybe Orientalism is just things you do to countries that are to your east, hence the term the Orient, you know? Maybe it's just like anything, you know? Like Judaism is way, way, way older than Eastern Orthodoxy or Catholicism, but nobody would go like, ah yes, Judaism, the ancient church with elaborate rituals and a strict hierarchy, because it sounds weird. It would sound weird to say that, I feel. Very, very like elder protocols, to call it that. Oh, here we go. Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew of Constantinople. Nice! Considered the first among equals among Orthodox leaders. Affirmed the stance in a statement after the Greek vote. But he added that the church must respond to members in such unions with pastoral responsibility and in Christ-like love. Well, that's nice. I think that's cool. I think it's nice to regard gay people with Christ-like love. That means you have to wash their feet, I think. In countries where they are majority, Orthodox believers overwhelmingly said society should not accept homosexuality or approve same-sex marriage, according to surveys conducted in 2015-2016. This probably varies a lot by country, you know? Greek Orthodox showed relative tolerance, with half of Orthodox saying homosexuality should be accepted. That's pretty good. And a quarter favoring same-sex marriage. In more recent polls, Greeks overall narrowly supported the marriage law. 55! 55 is pretty good. Nevertheless, Greece's Orthodox leadership unanimously opposed the law in January, saying, quote, "The duality of genders and their complementarity are not social inventions, but originate from God." Basically, what that means is, like, men and women are different, and they're equal, but they're different, and you need both of them to raise a kid, or whatever. It's just fucking, it's bullshit, you know, stupid. It's a stupid argument, you know. Like in America, the marriage is not a purely religious ceremony; it's a civil ceremony as well. If you're going to make this argument, you have to make the non-religious argument that there's something like legally bad about two dads or two moms raising a kid or being married or whatever, and you can't. Like these arguments have been fucking destroyed. It's really there's no religion.
Everybody. Gordon, if I had known it was you, I would have let you in.
Right on through, sir.
Major fracture detected. Morphine administered.
What's up, Doc?
Gordon, there you are. Nice of you to finally join us, Doctor. We've just sent the sample down to the test chamber.
We've boosted the anti-mass spectrometer to 105%. Bit of a gamble, but we needed the extra resolution.
The administrator is very concerned that we get a conclusive analysis of today's sample. I gather he went to some lengths to get it.
They're waiting for you, Gordon, in the test chamber.
Right. Come on then. I'll walk you down. Eli has been busy making last-minute preparations for a new experiment.
Morning, Izzy.
Spotted Becquerel's ghost, you know. The radiation level is off the charts.
Oh, there you are. Everybody's been looking for you, hombre.
Ah, here he is.
I'm afraid we'll be deviating a bit from standard analysis procedure today, Gordon.
Yes, but with good reason. This is a rare opportunity for us. This is the purest sample we've seen yet.
And potentially the most unstable.
Now, as long as we follow standard insertion procedures, everything will be fine.
I don't know how you can say that. Although I will admit that the possibility of a resonance cascade scenario is extremely unlikely. I just don't feel...
Gordon doesn't need to hear all this. He's a highly trained professional. We've assured the administrator that nothing will go wrong.
Yes, you're right. Gordon, we have complete confidence in you.
Well, go ahead. Let's let him in now.
Testing. Everything seems to be in order.
All right, Gordon. Your suit should keep you comfortable through all this. The specimen will be delivered to you in a few moments. Now, if you would be so good as to climb up and start the rotors, that way we can bring the anti-mass spectrometer to 80% and hold it there until the carrier arrives. Very good. We'll take it from here.
Power to stage 1 emitters in 3, 2, 1. I'm seeing predictable phase release.
destroyed. It's really there's.
Assange's plea for.
But Romania is one of the few to officiate gay marriage. In more recent polls, Greeks overall narrowly supported the marriage law. 55 is pretty good. Nevertheless, Greece's Orthodox leadership unanimously opposed the law in January, saying, quote, "The duality of genders and their complementarity are not social inventions, but originate from God." Basically what that means is, like, men and women are different, and they're equal, but they're different, and you need both of them to raise a kid, or whatever. It's just fucking bullshit, you know? Stupid. It's a stupid argument, you know. Like in America, the marriage is not a purely religious ceremony; it's a civil ceremony as well. If you're going to make this argument, you have to make the non-religious argument that there's something like legally bad about two dads or two moms raising a kid or being married or whatever, and you can't. Like these arguments have been fucking destroyed. It's really there's no religious end to this. We're talking about like civil marriage, you know. If you want to make the argument that like the Orthodox Church should not be forced to officiate gay marriages, I think that's fine. I don't know. Maybe this is a controversial thing, but like, I don't know. If you've got some like dusty fucking Orthodox wizards, I don't necessarily know if the government should be like, no, you have to officiate the gay marriage. Because it's like, I don't know, it's their church, right? Like, the problem isn't that the religion is intolerant. You can't really legislate that out of existence. The problem is like, marriage is a civil institution, you know? Like, I don't really give a shit about like Orthodox or ordained marriage, but if gay people in Greece or Athens, you know, want to marry, they're a legal, like that's a legal thing, right? That means more than just what the Orthodox Church says it means. Maybe making them do it would be cool though. I don't know. That guy specifically, officiating gay marriage. Never mind, I've changed my mind. I think that all Orthodox ministers should be forced to officiate gay marriages, because I think it'd be funny to watch them do it. Now we're talking, all the Orthodox, let's see. Ukraine does not have gay marriage, but a lot of people in Ukraine have been pushing for it. Probably as a way of like, again, leaning more towards the EU, but Ukraine's busy right now. I've been hearing about this. Ukraine's been doing, they've been up to something. I don't really know what. Russia, Belarus. Belarus basically just is Russia, so whatever. Serbia and Montenegro. We need gay Serbia. The Serbian Orthodox Church, which maintains close relations with the Russian Church, has opposed the idea of same-sex marriage. Serbia's president Aleksandar Vučić said he would not sign off a bill on same-sex marriages, although Serbia has had an openly lesbian prime minister for years. Truly a land of contrast, you know. It's like when you hear about, it's like when you're reading up on like an incredibly despotic, like unequal third world nation, and it's like, oh yeah, actually 2/3 of their parliament are women, and they've had a female prime minister for 16 years, you know. And then you look and like women can't fucking like open bank accounts in that country. Really fascinating, the wacky ways in which different countries pursue equality. Pride marches in Serbia are routinely banned or held under tight security. In Montenegro, those same-sex partnerships are allowed. The highly male-oriented society of 620,000 people remains divided in the issue. That's not even a real country. You fucking kidding me? 620,000. That's less than the population of Seattle. Jesus. Romania and Moldova. Romania is one of the few EU countries that allows neither same-sex marriages nor civil unions, despite a growing social acceptance of LGBTQ+ people. Romania is pretty big. Well, hold on. Romania gay people polling. That's crazy. I misspelled every word. Oh, let's see. Polling. I want polling. LGBTI? Intersex? Where's polling? Having trouble finding polling on this. A survey commissioned by LGBT rights group Accept in 2021 showed that while 71% of Romanians said legal recognition of civil marriage for same-sex couples would not have any impact on their lives, only 43% were in favor of it. Actually, that's not bad. Back in 2021, that's 3 years ago now, 43% in favor of same-sex marriage in Romania. That's actually not that bad. Considering the fact that they don't even have civil unions, I feel like that's kind of a bit behind, actually. Like, they should, you would think, based on those numbers, they could at least pass some kind of milquetoast civil union law. Interesting. I wonder if this is going to happen sometime in the near future. Maybe it's like another way of distinguishing themselves from Russia, but then again, like, maybe they don't want to, you know. Public opinion in Bulgaria is mostly hostile to gay people. Me too. In the Balkan country, patriarchal family traditions still predominant. This is that Orientalism thing again. Patriarchal family traditions are dominant in America. This is like saying that is really, it's like, ah, yes, you know, in the mystic Far East, in the, you know, in the realm of Bulgaria, their antiquated family structure, like the patriarchal family tradition is default in basically every society on Earth. Like, maybe they do it more, you know, but yeah, in darkest Bulgaria. This is this is like the Zizek bit, except instead of everything being the Balkans, it's everything is the Orient, you know? So, like, you know, and these people would say that the Orient begins from, like, east of Kazakhstan, and these people say, no, 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 the Orient is China, you know, China, Laos, Cambodia, and it's, no, 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 actually, the Orient begins in Romania. Yeah, and then you have, like, the UK, where it's like, no, no, you see, the Orient is, anything across the channel is, essentially the Orient. The Far Eastern tradition of the Franks, and in Paris are, a mystery to us. Or something like that. The inscrutable Dutch. The inscrutable which is, the Orient is just like literally like a longitudinal distinction that wraps around. I look at chat for 1 second and I see Brussels is the new Constantinople. Yeah, the like bridge between the Western and the Eastern world used to be Turkey, but now it's like Switzerland or something. Oh. Here. What are you, you're so wiggly. Okay. Got some eye goo. Look at his smushed little pug face. He's doing this to himself.
Automatic medical systems engaged.
He just wants to run around. Brussels is the new Constantinople. Oh, fuck, that's so funny. Okay. And I believe this, by the way, to be clear. I believe that. Okay. That's a belief that I have. Okay. Closing the biography of His All Holiness Patriarch Bartholomew. Wonderful, wonderful. All right. Engaging with chat to a minimal extent allows me to get through segments much faster. Hold on. It's sniffly today. I'm sure this is going to be no surprise to you people, but I'm very behind on sleep.
Automatic medical systems engaged. Morphine administered. Minor fracture detected. Warning.
In slightly more significant news, have you heard about this guy called Julian Assange?
Today could give WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange his final chance to avoid going on trial in the United States. Assange has been in a British prison since 2019. He is wanted by the U.S. for leaking secret military files more than a decade ago. MTS Tayev is in London. MTS, good morning.
So, I've talked about this before, but just to make my position on this perfectly clear, I think that Julian Assange is a freak and a weirdo. And I think that people who defend Julian Assange online are almost always themselves freaks and weirdos. And I think that he's also, in a lot of ways, like very much aligned with the interests of, let's say, political groups that we're not fond of here in this channel. However, he should not be put in a U.S. prison. I have an almost like unwavering and unconditional support for the leak of documents. I know he did it in a very irresponsible way, but like generally speaking, any kind of legal precedent established with the prosecution of leakers or journalists or anything like that, like this is a very, very, very dangerous, not just like dangerous precedent to set, just flat out, man. Like, hey, listen, if military secrets get leaked, that's a skill issue, man. Like, fuck. Oh, damn, military secrets got, maybe the military should suck less, huh? Like, I don't know, possibly. Like, don't, what I'm saying is, like, don't get mixed up in this, right? Like, Julian Assange himself may be a freak or a weirdo, but the American prosecutors who want him dead and buried, and this has, like, been a long time thing, right? Biden wants it, Trump wanted it, Obama wanted it. They want him fucking dead. Because like he undermines state power, you know. This was actually like a big disillusioning moment for a lot of Trump supporters because a lot of people thought Trump was some kind of like, you know, anti-military industrial complex maverick, and then when Trump was in power, he also wanted, you know, Julian Assange to be dead and buried, right? So. This is very much just like an American power thing, and as much as I don't like Assange, I don't like American power a hell of a lot more. You know, my interests here, it's very, very much aligned that way.
Good morning. Well, as you can see, a lively crowd of Julian Assange's supporters have gathered here outside London's High Court, but he will not attend because his lawyers say he's simply too ill. Now, defenders of the WikiLeaks founder say he's committed no crimes and should be protected by press freedoms. But according to prosecutors in the U.S., Assange seriously violated espionage laws and must face justice in an American court.
Julian Assange forcibly dragged from the Ecuadorian embassy in London by British police back in 2019.
Remember?
But his arrest would mark the beginning of what has now become a nearly 5-year legal battle, as the 52-year-old Australian fights extradition to the U.S., where he faces...
Yeah, look, you can take a look at the charges right here, okay? Indictments by the Department of Justice. Assange not named a seal indictment, federal grand jury issued a seal indictment, blah, blah, blah. First indictment, charge of conspiracy to commit computer intrusion. Charge of conspiracy to commit computer intrusion, a crime that carries a maximum 5-year sentence. The charges allege that Assange sought to help Chelsea Manning, remember her? Crack a password hash so Manning could use a different username to download classified documents. Remember, we like Chelsea Manning here. We're big Chelsea Manning fans, all right? That's cool. And then, in the superseding indictments, charges under the Espionage Act. 17 new charges relating to the Espionage Act, maximum sentence of 170 years in prison. It wouldn't actually be 170 years if he got found guilty for all of them, but he probably would die in American prison. Conspiracy to obtain and disclose national defense information. Based. Conspiracy to commit computer intrusions. Based. Obtaining national defense information. Based. Disclosure of national defense information. Based. Yeah. And basically, like, after his arrest, they've been trying to extradite him to the United States so they can put him in a hole in the ground here in the States. And he's been, and they've been trying to fight off that because he doesn't want to be put in a hole in the ground, as I understand it. In late June 2020, a grand jury expanded the indictment. They say broadened the scope of alleged computer intrusions. Assange allegedly told a Hacking at Random conference that WikiLeaks obtained non-public documents from the Congressional Research Service by exploiting a small vulnerability in the U.S. Congress's document distribution system, telling them this is what any one of you would find if you were actually looking. The charging document also accused Assange of gaining unauthorized access to a government computer system in a NATO country in 2010. And in 2012, of conspiring with hackers including members of LulzSec and Anonymous. The indictment also described Assange and WikiLeaks' alleged efforts to recruit system admins to be sources, and Assange and WikiLeaks' role in helping Snowden flee the U.S. and their use of Snowden as a recruitment tool. Again, Julian Assange's interests are not our interests, right? A lot of the stuff, like a lot of the patterns in the leaks that he's been involved in, the information that he's revealed, like his weird decision to, back in 2016, basically, he leaked a bunch of dirt on Hillary Clinton, but not on Trump. And when confronted about that, he was like, well, everyone knows Trump is bad, but it was pretty clearly just a partisan effort to favor Trump by selectively leaking stuff against Hillary Clinton. Like, I'm not against leaking, but selectively leaking kind of indicates a bias, which is less journalistic and more just you are using classified information to be another, like, political force. You're not really, like, pursuing truth here. So, you know, again, like, I don't like him. But I also really don't want the U.S. government to get, like, a huge dub on putting a guy in a hole in the ground because they couldn't keep their shit secret. So, I don't know. Fuck them.
17 charges of espionage and one of misusing a computer for his alleged role in obtaining and disclosing classified material. A judge in London initially blocked Assange's transfer to the U.S. on the grounds that he may kill himself if held in what was described as harsh conditions in American prisons. But a subsequent court cleared the way for the move after U.S. authorities provided assurances over his treatment, leading to today's hearing for an appeal. His wife, Stella Assange, says he should be freed.
Julian did the right thing. He received information that was evidence of the United States and other countries committing torture and war crimes. And
that is true.
He performed a public duty, and now he's being punished for it.
WikiLeaks became a household name in 2010.
Yeah, that's another, like, really important thing to keep in mind, right? Like, the reason the United States, like intel agencies, the deep state, whatever you want to call it, the reason, like, the institution of the United States and the military-industrial complex and whatever else, the reason they hate Assange is not because he's, like, I don't know, Russian-aligned or whatever. A lot of it is because he was a participant in exposing just crimes of the U.S. government, right? WikiLeaks has held, like, a lot of information on it, and they don't like people looking into what they've done, you know? Like, obviously, right? That's why they're leaks. Like, there's a reason why they're leaks. It's confidential info. It's because they don't want that information out there. They don't like that information being exposed. I really wish this was being done by a better person. You can kind of see the same thing happening with Snowden, because Snowden was a lot more responsible with the way he leaked information, like, you know, sending it to journalists, like, very specifically about PRISM and all of the, like, internal surveillance stuff going on in the U.S. The interview between Snowden and John Oliver was excellent, by the way. You really should go and look at that. The problem is that, like, so American officials want Snowden to be buried in a hole in the ground too, for the same reason, right? Even though Snowden was a lot more responsible in how he released his information. The problem is like, if you're an enemy of the American government, that means you're an enemy of every government with an extradition treaty with the American government, which means, like, every country. So where do you flee to, right? Like, where do you go? Syria? Well, Snowden and Assange, you know, yeah, you're an enemy to to everyone, basically, or you can go to Russia, which is what Snowden did. And the problem is like, you're going to be polarized in the opposite direction if that's the position you're forced into, right? Like, Snowden has also tweeted a lot of, like, I don't know, weirdly multipolar, the deep state doesn't want you to know that, you know, Russia, NATO, blah, blah, shit. But a lot of that is to be expected because Snowden is a hero. Snowden is literally a fucking hero, right? Snowden, like, risked everything to leak information on the extent of American surveillance, and then nothing happened with it, basically, because it was so big and so powerful that it seems like no one can stop it, you know? The information that he leaked is very important, and you know, the average American probably just thinks that he's like, I don't know, evil enemy or whatever. So he flees to Russia, and you know, you get the same negative polarization you would expect to see from any other situation where a person has been pushed into a situation where the only people who will support them are a literal enemy of the U.S. government. Right? Yeah, I guess.
Site published hundreds of thousands of classified diplomatic cables and military files on the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. They were obtained with the help of Army intelligence analyst Chelsea Manning, who hacked into a Pentagon computer. Among the files published by WikiLeaks was video of a 2007 Apache helicopter attack by American forces in Baghdad, including 2 journalists for the Reuters news agency.
That's why they hate Assange.
And if the London High Court rejects Assange's plea for a full appeal, he could be extradited to the U.S. in a matter of weeks, where if convicted, he could receive a prison sentence of up to 175 years.
It won't be that much, but it probably would be life in prison. But he would also probably die or kill himself in prison. Assange has some pretty severe mental health issues, so it's very unlikely that he would live very long in prison. Or they might kill. I don't think they would kill him, though. That seems unlikely to me. Julian Assange's brother makes a heartbreaking plea to bring him home. This is a big deal, man. Like, there's a lot of news going out about this. It feels inevitable. I don't think his appeal is going to succeed. He's probably going to die in prison here in America. Like, pretty soon, too. Man. Again, I don't like it. I hate the position that I'm being forced in here, but at the same time, like, you know, it's like... I'm pretty sure that Assange's lawyers allege the CIA has made an effort in the past to kill Assange. I don't know if that's true or not. I guess it wouldn't be like... It's not impossible, but it's also not impossible they would just lie about it. So, yeah, I don't know. Unfortunate. I guess we'll see how the appeal goes. I'd be very, 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 very surprised if it panned out, though. I don't know if I can make a segment out of this, but God help me if I don't feel it would be worthwhile to try. Okay? Have you guys seen the so Donald Trump is out of money, and he's been out of money for a while now, and he has been engaged in a number of grifts to try to build up money that he would need for running a campaign and defending himself legally. He's onto these lovely golden high tops now. They look like shit. They're very funny. They look like shit. I love them. They look so bad. They're like $400. It seems like this is a very standard, like, there's some factory in China that makes like some version of these high tops that costs like $12 to produce, and they, you know, applied a gold paint to it, and they're selling it at $400. Like, this isn't some like you know, bespoke, made in America bullshit. This isn't some like custom craft. They're making some wacky shoes. This isn't even the only thing that he's selling too. Like it's not just these shoes. There's like some other shit like cologne or whatever. But I saw this Forbes article, which actually made me laugh out loud when I was reading it to see. Okay, editor's pick. You probably won't find Donald Trump's gold sneakers in collectors' closets. From Sean Harper, a contributor who is apparently a diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI expert. I'm just going to read this out loud, okay? Former President Donald Trump unveiled a shiny new shoe at SneakerCon in Philadelphia. Many urban footwear enthusiasts will likely agree that the high-top sneaker, quote, goes hard, which is a strong statement of approval. The shoe looks like what many rappers, hip-hop stars, and fashion models are wearing right now. That's true. They look like shoes, yeah. People do tend to wear those. It's therefore no surprise that Trump's latest product drop sold out within 2 hours. People can't get them on the official product website. The Never Surrender high tops are strikingly gold with a red and white bottom trim. The sides are embossed with a gold T. The letter also appears atop both shoe tongues. A metallic red and blue American flag lines the upper. Bold, gold, and tough, just like President Trump, is how they're described in the website. Only 1,000 pairs were made, each with its own unique number, serial number, like all products. Trump autographed 10 of them. Sneakerheads usually crave this level of exclusivity. People in Trump's Philadelphia audience were holding signs exclaiming, "Sneakerheads love Trump." Some, yes. The majority of black footwear aficionados, no. Sneakerheads spend $100 or more on shoes, and they typically buy 3 or more pairs each year, according to a recent consumer report. They tend to be millennials, male, and disproportionately black. They're likeliest to reside in large urban contexts. Trump's sneakers debuted in America's 6th largest city, where black people comprise the single largest racial group. They're 40.1% of Philadelphians. Will we find lots of hot never surrenders in the predominantly black neighborhoods across the city of brotherly love? Probably not, as few people who live there have shown up for Trump at the ballot box. My cheeks hurt, fuck. Oh. Nationally, only 6% of black Americans voted for Trump in the 2016 presidential election, Pew Research data show. That number increased by 2 percentage points in the 2020 presidential election, a small gain largely attributed to black men. It seems unlikely that a group that massively withheld support of Trump in the 2 most recent presidential contests would put politics aside to rock his new shoes. Regardless of how dope they are.
So you'll have to hurry. It could sap your suit power in a matter of moments. If you're bent on reaching the land of then you
I can't keep doing this. I can't. This whole thing is written by AI, by the way. Like 100%. This is written by a computer. Incredibly funny. One of the top results when I searched up like the Trump high top sneakers, by the way. So, you know, that I guess that's the like level of coverage here. Jesus Christ. Because they're so rare, the shoes are likelier to be stored in display cases in the homes of lucky Trump supporters across the country. We probably won't find them in the streets of Philadelphia, Atlanta, Baltimore, Detroit, Chicago, Los Angeles, St. Louis, Memphis, New Orleans, and predominantly black New York City neighborhoods. Even though they can't buy the high tops anywhere at this point, Trump lovers can still purchase 2 other styles of footwear on his website. Well, there you go, guys. Remarkable. I look at chat, I get useful info. Vosh, you have to look at Trump's new men's cologne, which has his head as a bottle cap. Okay, this is dope though. At least this has like, it's not just somebody like spray painted pre-existing shoes gold.
Nice hit.
Hell yes.
That's the guy?
There is nothing that I want more than to smell like Donald Trump. I like free shipping on orders over 120 so that it's like after you buy the $100 shit cologne with Trump's head on top of it, it's like, oh, well, you have to buy something else. It's like that predatory pricing you see in gacha games where it takes like 500 coins to do X, but you can buy $4.99 in a pack or something. God, this looks like shit.
What body?
They don't even have a second photo of it. Why don't they have a second? Is this a render? What? What? It's just a picture of him on the phone, looking at me. Remarkable. I mean, it's not especially surprising or anything. It's you know, it's one, I guess, in a long line of desperate attempts to make money back. He just lost what, like 300 million for defaming that lady that he raped or sexually assaulted or whatever. Because at first he lost such and such money, but then he lost more. So he's making it back one little bit at a time. Here you can see the kind of people who care about these sneakers. Russian CEO wins autographed gold Donald Trump sneakers after $9,000 bid. Fantastic. Completely, I don't know. On form.
So what was your winning bid?
That's great, man. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. A distinct like presidential product, merch-wise, signed by a former president, 9,000 is actually nothing. Like genuinely nothing. You know, a deliberate auction for something like this. Like you would think you could like land 10 times that, like 90,000 or more. I mean, it's signed by a former president. Signed by a former president who has a cult of personality around him. You know, like not even like a regular former president. Obama Jordans equals 200K. Obama Jordans, unless you're referring to an actual time they sold for 200K, if that shit was put up on fucking auction, that shit would land 7 digits, easy. The Obama Jordans, are you fucking kidding me? 50 trillion, bankrupt the fucking economy. 9,000 for signed distinct shoes too, like the Trump shoes, you know? The catch is that Trump whores out a signature all the time, lowers the value. That's true. Yeah, that is true.
So what was your winning bid?
Oh, why'd the video repeat like that? What, that was halfway through. It was just a 15-second video loop. Twice. Limited to just 1,000 pairs. The sneakers reportedly sold out less than 2 hours after the launch. See, okay, even this sounds pretty embarrassing, right? It's a former president selling gaudy, distinctive shoes. Only 1,000 of them. This should have sold out in like 2 minutes. Less than 2 hours, like what? 100 minutes? You know, this should have sold like instantly. Like, think of how quickly Taylor Swift tickets go, right? Like, people break the internet trying to like quick buy shit like this, you know?
Hello, everybody. So, thank you very much. And we have a few young ladies that are...
Yes, please.
They're up here crying. Look at you. With the Trump 2024. Thank you, darling. I love you too. Wow. A lot of emotion. There's a lot of emotion in this room. Thank you.
Keep in mind, he's literally at SneakerCon, right? Pardon me for making assumptions here, but I'm going to guess that in terms of average age, race, urban-rural divide, everything, the average, like, person at SneakerCon is probably not a Trump supporter. I'm tossing a guess out there into the ether. I am throwing that out there. This is such a desperate attempt to make money. Spray paint 1,000 pairs of high tops gold, sell them for 400. It takes like 2 hours for them to sell out. 9K bid and a signature from a former president. Unbelievable.
Thank you. So nice. So the really nice thing is we have lines, and I want to thank Chase and I want to thank Alan, but we have lines going all around the block. They're going all around this block. They've never seen anything like this one. I just want to tell you, you know, I've wanted to do this for a long time. I have some incredible people that work with me on things, and they came up with this, and this is something I've been talking about for 12 years, 13 years. And I think it's going to be a big success. Your influencers have been very positive. They've been real influencers, and they love it, and they love what we've done. That's the real deal. That's the real deal. And we appreciate it. We really appreciate it more than anything else.
The placement on the shoes is really funny because I've never once seen anybody present shoes by having them on opposite sides of the podium, like, and they're facing forward. I'm pretty sure that if you're presenting shoes, you would always have them on the side, like, so you can see the side, or like one on the side. But it's like he doesn't know what to do with, like, he's just like put them there. It's so fucking funny, dude.
Appreciate the turnout, because they say they've never had a turnout like this, and we're going to do things that are
SneakerCon. He's like, you can say this anywhere. He's like getting ice cream, and he's like, I've never seen a turnout like this before. He like turns, there's no one else there, it's just him with an ice cream. Holy shit. He's so funny. He's literally me, is what I'm saying. He's literally me. You can hear so many boos in the audio. He definitely has a security detail. I mean, he does. He literally has Secret Service protection, who would have like cleared the audience to try to make sure the people closest to him were supporters and not like jeering onlookers. You know, like there would have been some like effort at sort of holding it down, I guess. But you can still hear a bunch of boos. Remarkable stuff, truly. Yeah, cat's fucking around. Look at he looks like a he looks like he's lost. Look at this. Look at him. And again, he's holding them front forward. They're front forward, not only in his hands, but on the little display thing over here too. Like they're not even showing off the design on the shoe. He's mewing. Yeah, he's getting ready for the presidential debates. God damn, dude. At least like the billboard behind has them at a 3/4. The way he's holding the shoes is like incomprehensibly funny to me. I don't know. It would be like if somebody was at a gun show and they were showing off like a new firearm, like it was a company, and the way they showed it off was by pointing it at the audience. It's just so like, I don't know. Very funny. They have a SneakerCon at Seattle. I don't know much about shoes. I feel like I like Vans. That's my opinion on shoes.
We'll stay here for a moment.
Oh, fuck. SneakerCon Seattle's in 4 days. Oh, fuck. Oh, God. I didn't think I'd have to make a choice that soon. this is Vosh, live from Sneaker. I wonder what the demographics are there. I don't think Seattle has a lot of like. Wouldn't it be like all fucking like Chinese students who go to Washington State University? Oh fuck, they're so drippy though. I don't know. I'll wear my freshest kicks. Well, anyway.
You'll have to sneak and fight your way from one end to the other. I don't expect you'll meet many of our peers along the way.
If you somehow survive long enough to make it across the base.
Yeah, we need to catch Donald Trump when he's on tour. Yeah, you know, don't stop at Philadelphia. Just keep running it. You know, do SneakerCon Seattle.
Lambda complex that you are coming. Now, don't go running pell-mell into this bloody war zone.
I had a Chinese roommate in college, and he hung out with a lot of the Chinese international students. And every time I talk with them, I was like, "Holy shit, they're all drippy as hell." Yeah, you know how like right-wing Twitter accounts will post videos of just like a Chinese skyline, and they'll be like, "China is 300 years ahead of the West." That's how I feel whenever I see any like streetwear lookbooks from any Chinese like clothing company, and just any outlet of theirs, where you look at what they have available, and it's like, wow, you know, the West is truly falling behind. You know, the West is losing the civilizational game. You know, it's like the fucking golden age of Islam, where your average European peasant was bathing once a month and like constantly smelled like horse shit and didn't understand anything about medicine. Like their remedy for a cold was like mint leaves left in the forehead overnight, and then you go down the fucking and then elsewhere, you know, you've got like free healthcare in hospitals. Do you have any theory on why Asia is dressed so much drippier than the West? I do have a couple of theories, actually, but they're complicated and not really appropriate for stream politics time. Look at that discipline. Look at how much I've learned. I gotta fix the camera angle. I gotta like readjust the lighting. I changed it a little bit for the video record thing. I need to fix it. Chat will be back on screen soon, guys. Its removal is temporary and to help me not be distracted. I have looked at chat a few times this stream, and you've all been very distracting in a number of ways. We're going to, you know, we're going to sort of like reintegrate it slowly. Yeah, I look at chat for a moment and I see people talking about this. It's a pretty big deal. Lula da Silva has joined me in the ranks of debate bros who like using hyperbolic comparisons to make a point. Netanyahu slams Brazilian president's comparison of Gaza war to the Holocaust. Basically, Lula was like, yeah, Israel is doing to Palestinians what Germany did to Jews. Netanyahu has accused him of being anti-Semitic and trivializing the Nazi genocide of European Jews. Okay, let me make an argument here. Let me like explain something, okay? I think that for some people in the Israeli government, like Ben Gvir, and a lot of people who are like him, logically, like in their mind, like the logic they operate on, the logic that they're operating on, they're fascists. That much is undeniable. In terms of like what they would be willing to do to achieve their goal of sort of like ethnic supremacy, I don't think there's much of a distinction between them and any kind of Hitlerite shit, right? Like Netanyahu himself has literally done Holocaust revisionism to make a point about Arabs as a broader ethnic group. I don't think that like if you could like magically transplant Ben Gvir over into like you know, like any other situation, like I think that the Hitlerite logic continues, right? And the reason for that is because fascism with a strongly like sort of ethnically supremacist tendency is not unique. There are literally billions of people on Earth who adhere to varying degrees of this ideology, right? Like, we say Hitler particles jokingly because it's funny to say that, but in reality, fascism is not a super uncommon ideological tendency. It is literally like the other schism that gets formed in a post-industrial, generally liberalized world. And the concept of ethnic supremacy is ancient, right? Like that is not a new thing. So when you combine those two, Hitler particles form, they emerge, you know, they combust spontaneously. Now the issue is, in spite of that, the Holocaust remains unique as like monstrous actions go, right? Like there are plenty of historical events that have killed more people than the Holocaust, like World War II, right? Tens of millions of people died in broader conflicts as a consequence of World War II, where the Holocaust killed a significant proportion of them. But like this isn't really like a numbers game. The numbers game here isn't really the point. The point is that the Holocaust is the one and only fully industrialized genocide. That's the big distinction. There have been plenty of historical events that have killed many, 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 many people. Like, for example, slavery in like the Caribbean and Latin America, their system of slavery where they would just like ship in an ungodly number of people who would die in just a few years because the conditions were so monstrous that they literally, it was just like a mill to grind humans to paste. Like the fields were essentially fertilized with the dead of the slaves that killed them, like tens of millions of people dying through this. But the thing that makes the Holocaust distinct is the industrial nature of the genocide. Nothing else like even comes close to that. It's like, this is kind of like, I don't know, like we're literally doing like oppression Olympics here, but as comparisons go, I guess you can kind of think of it like the difference between a serial killer killing 10 people and like a really bad freeway pileup killing 10 people, where the same number of people die, and maybe they even die in conditions of like equal suffering potentially, but in terms of culpability or like underlying ideology, there's something distinct about a serial killer as opposed to like a big pileup. It's kind of like a big spectrum where you have like systemic murder, and you have like you have like social murder, and you have systemic murder, and you have industrialized murder, and like the ways in which these are applied have different implications, I guess. There's a different I don't know, there's meaning in its application. So I think that while I get to make all these edgy comparisons, thank you, I think that Lula probably shouldn't. Like, it's a little bit bad, but at the same time, like, I don't really give a fuck. So that's my like overarching point, which is that as a head of state, it is an inept comparison, but also like, holy shit, Israel's doing like Hitler particle stuff. So like, whatever. Basically what I'm saying is that it is a statement which is easy for somebody like Netanyahu to pick apart, but the underlying point, right? Like the invective there, I guess, like the thing that he's gesturing at is completely fucking valid. So, whatever. That's my point. Brazil has really been hitting it with the anti-Israel stuff. Just a little bit ago, they like, wasn't it the other day? They retracted their ambassador, and likewise. Speaking to reporters at the African Union Summit in Ethiopia, Lula said that what is happening in the Gaza Strip and to the Palestinian people hasn't been seen in any other moment in history. Actually, it did when Hitler decided to kill the Jews. This is a dumb statement. The systemic elimination of an ethnic group has been seen many times in history. The Holocaust isn't the only time that happened, and also the Holocaust happened in an extremely different way to what's happening. This is like a dumb hyperbole. The underlying point, blah-de-blah, but whatever. What is Brazil doing at the African Union? Well, one paragraph up, Lula has portrayed himself as a leader of the Global South, a loosely defined group of developing countries. This is like a better version of multipolarism, right? This is something that I'm on board with. Lula da Silva, for his faults, is a really good guy, better than most European, better than all. Lula's a cool guy, man. I'm not qualifying that statement. Fuck you. I like Lula, right? Nobody's perfect. And you know, the developing world or the global south or whatever term you want, like it needs a voice. Brazil is a massive country, you know, with a lot of power and a lot of clout. And if he can do something to elevate the voices of the, you know, of the global south, then I think that is a good thing. Oh, hey, nice job, fucking Associated Press. ... comparing the situation in Gaza to the Holocaust, increasingly anti-Semitic, and trivializing the Nazi genocide of European Jews during World War II. Seriously, AP? Come on. Yeah, they mean NASA, actually. It's a clever reference to Operation Paperclip. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu said Lula's comments trivialized the Holocaust and crossed the red line. He also accused Lula of being a virulent anti-Semite. Netanyahu wants to be the only guy in town doing Holocaust revisionism. Thank you.
They look distracted enough.
Man, I love how these paragraphs are always ordered in these fucking articles. The war was triggered by an October 7th attack by Hamas militants who stormed into southern Israel and killed about 1,200 people, mostly civilians, took 250 hostage. Next paragraph. The war has killed at least 30,000 Palestinians. Not Israel, the war. Mostly women and children, according to the health ministry in Hamas-ruled Gaza, which does not distinguish between civilians and combatants. Thanks, AP News. Fantastic, you know? Phenomenal. Oh, around 80% of Gaza's population has been driven from their homes and a quarter face starvation. Oh, what, you know. Yeah, I like the implication here that like 30,000 Hamas militants have died valiantly for Allah in their fucking battle against Israel, you know.
Not how I thought my day was
Absolutely
gonna go.
spectacular. Side sleepers get achy shoulders. Quit fucking staring at me. Weird ads. Yeah, this isn't the only, Israel declares Brazil's Lula da Silva persona non grata for comparing Gaza war to Holocaust. Ambassadors have been withdrawn to both nations from both nations. So Brazil no longer has their ambassador in Israel, and Israel no longer has their ambassador in Brazil. Pretty big deal. Standing at the Yad Vashem Holocaust Memorial in Jerusalem, Katz, the son of Holocaust survivors, told Brazil's ambassador Federico Maier that Israel, quote, will not forget and we will not forgive. He sort of like procured a Guy Fawkes mask and held it up in front of his face as he said this to really drive the point home. In my name and in the name of all Israeli citizens, is that something you can do? Said Katz. Tell President Lula that he is persona non grata in Israel until he retracts his statements. This is such a fascist way to say something, you know? What the fuck? You're a foreign minister. You speak for the government, not for all citizens. This, like, weird allusion to, like, the nation is the people is the nation. You know, like, yeah, literally like the Volk, right? actually, like, by my right as foreign minister, like, I am the blood of this nation, and I say, weird fucking thing to say. It could be like an offhanded statement, but given the like general preponderance of Hitler particles in the Israeli government, I think it's safe for me to sort of point that out. I brought you to a place that testifies more than anything else to what the Nazis and Hitler's did to the Jews, including members of my family. The comparison between Israel's just war against Hamas and the atrocities of Hitler and the Nazis is a disgrace and a severe anti-Semitic attack. One of the things that actually validates Lula's attack is the fact that the foreign minister, and I guess like Israeli officials broadly, aren't rebutting him in a correct way. Like, the only thing they can really say is, what? No, we're not like Hitler. Hitler was bad and we're good. Whereas, like, if like any effort to give a shit was made, they could say, no, like, regardless of how you feel about this conflict, the industrial massacre of the Holocaust shouldn't be compared. Because they could say that. You could have one of them say, like, regardless of how you feel about our war against Hamas, the industrialized massacre of like 10 million people and 6 million Jews in the Holocaust is incomparable to any other like broader conflict or whatever. Like, I think these statements are extremely irresponsible. Like, they could do that, but that wouldn't be like the insane fascist thing to say, right? So instead they have to do this like, well, no, Hitler was bad and we're good. So, you know, whatever. It seems like he internalized the message, an Israeli official who was present told the Times of Israel. Okay. It's not a war of soldiers against soldiers. It's a war between a highly prepared army and women and children. The veteran leftist politician falsely said, thank you, the Times of Israel. I love journalism. I love journalism so much. In fairness, what with the revision to the Israeli constitution, it's possible that the people who wrote this article would have been fucking guillotined if they hadn't said that, so, you know, whatever. Israel is fighting a heavily armed terror group in the enclave in response to the deadliest attack on its population in history. It says civilian casualties are the result of combatants operating from behind the cover of innocence, and that it makes efforts to minimize the deaths of Gazan civilians, including through evacuations of combat zones. Hamas's unverified figures, which do not distinguish between combatants and civilians, point to around 29,000 Gazans dead in the war, or slightly over 1% of the Strip's total estimated population. Thank you, Times of Israel. Really appreciate you putting a positive spin on the matter. Israel said at least 10,000 of those were terror operatives. Oh, 2-to-1 civilian casualty ratio, even by their own admission. That's cool. And that the war would end if Hamas were to release the Israeli hostages it took. They've literally, like, offered to release the hostages, haven't they? But Netanyahu has explicitly said he won't consider any agreement that involves, like, giving land to the Palestinians.
I apologize, Dr.
Hamas has said Israel must
I'm
end
sure
the
you
war before the
understand
group
that I
would
couldn't
negotiate a
risk
new
opening
hostage
that
deal. The
door until you had
proposal
scoured
included a
the area.
three-phase process. Like, that, so much of this has been, like, from Israel's
This is
side
the
of
last
things,
entrance to the
just like a
landed
flat
complex.
refusal
Every
to
other has been
engage
sealed off to contain the invasion.
in,
When we realized that you might actually make it here,
in diplomacy.
to see who would stay behind and let you through. Obviously.
Oh, from
I
3
drew a
hours
short
ago,
one.
U.S. vetoes UN resolution calling
colleagues
for
are waiting at the
Israeli
tip of the
Hamas
Lander reactor.
ceasefire and offers
Waiting
its
for
own
you,
plan.
I mean.
Guys, we got an idea.
The reactor is shut down right now.
The UN Security Council voted 13-1, thank you, America, on the resolution Tuesday morning, with the U.S. forming the lone no vote and the U.K. abstaining. The third time the U.S. has invoked its veto power on a Security Council resolution on the war. I love the Security Council. I love the Security Council. I love the Security Council. Thank you. I love the Security Council. The U.S. vetoed it, but is pushing for its own separate ceasefire proposal condition on the release of Israeli hostages and unimpeded humanitarian aid into Gaza that also warns against the IDF's plans for an offensive in the Gaza region of Rafah, arguing such a push would damage regional peace. Yeah, Israel's, like, plans to push into Rafah are so unhinged that even fucking America doesn't want them to do it. Oh, man. believe that 134 hostages are being held in Gaza. Cool. Not all of them alive. You have to kill 50 billion more Palestinians to free the hostages that are being kept in areas that we're bombing and starving. Three hostages have been rescued by troops alive, and the bodies of 11 hostages have also been recovered, including 3 mistakenly killed by the military. A very significant portion of the hostages that have been directly rescued by the IDF were just killed by the IDF. Which military? Well, this is from the Times of Israel, so when they say the military, like, it's pretty obvious that they mean the IDF. Is our live war coverage important to you? It's really not, Times of Israel. Fuck you. Haaretz does make an effort to cover things as well as they can sometimes. The Times of Israel is just a propaganda rag at this point. I think I've occasionally seen good pieces from the Times of Israel that have at least tried to be impartial, but with the, like, increasing crackdown on pro-Hamas sentiment in Israel, like, people can literally be fucking arrested for it. Remember that one person who got arrested because they had a WhatsApp status message set before a law was passed, saying, like, may God protect them, and they arrested her because they were like, oh, by them you mean Hamas because you're an Arab, so you, by God you mean Allah, even though it's the same God, and you're supporting Hamas there, so they fucking arrested her. Haaretz tries, but again, there's kind of limits to what you can do because, like, they'll just fucking arrest you. They tried to remove a member of the Knesset? I know I'm mispronouncing that. Israel Assembly falls short in vote to expel lawmaker over genocide case. Failed to gain enough vote in parliament to expel a far-left colleague over his support for an International Court of Justice case accusing the country of genocide in Gaza. Man, the fact that he didn't get kicked out is actually really surprising to me. The left-wing Arab Tal party. Tal? Tal? Ofer Kassif. Wait, is this the right guy? Yeah, Ofer Kassif. Yeah. And ad blocker really does decimate Reuters these days, huh? Look at this. Look at this. I love journalism, dude. I love journalism. Look at that. I love it. Within Israel, however, support for the military campaign remains high, with most Israelis believing Hamas would repeat the October 7th attack if it had the chance. I also believe that, you know? I wonder if there... I wonder if anything has been done to, like, really upset the Palestinian people, you know? Since indiscriminate civilian slaughter is clearly on the table. Well, that's all pretty wacky. Bernie didn't want to meet with him. I don't know why. Probably because in America right now, they'll fire you out of a cannon if you show any, like, they literally fucking censored Rashida Tlaib for calling for a ceasefire. Meeting with someone supporting the ICJ case from Israel, like, oh man, the fucking, the AIPAC attack. Insane. We gotta talk about Alexei Navalny. Well, before we do that, I gotta take a piss. I'll be right back, folks.
guess not.
Right then. This way, Dr. Freeman. We've been expecting you.
Oh, Jesus. You're not scared, are you?
What you see before you is the supply depot for our first survey team.
The drop.
Quite a few handsome specimens were collected from the border world. Brought back this way.
All right. You know, before we get into it, I just want to say, minimally engaged at the moment with the drama as I am, you know, you guys are pretty wonderful. It's remarkable, but in spite of everything, in terms of messages and emails and what have you, the positive ones outnumber the negative 10 to 1, or thereabouts. Thanks.
I'm sure that you will know it when you see it. I am loath to say this, Gordon. You must kill it.
Yeah, you better kill it. No ifs, ands, or asses about it.
Of course, you owe us nothing, Dr. Freeman. But you've come this far. You know as much about these creatures as anyone.
Enough to know that if you don't wipe it out, well, let's put it this way. There ain't gonna be much for you to come home to.
Yes.
Surprised.
So if you're willing, my colleague is waiting for you at the main portal controls.
I'm not surprised,
Dr.
save
Steinman
point.
will open the gates for you. And don't
Have
let
you seen
Hunter's
Fearin
Rush
yet?
add it to
No,
your
I
fire.
haven't.
We've all been a wee bit rankled since the incident. He'll equip you with the proper armaments for the task ahead. Do hurry.
Dr. Freeman, so glad you made it.
Tempest, you're right. Do you guys want to see something really cool?
For you.
It was a gift given to me.
This is the long jump
For
module.
either my birthday or
I created
Christmas.
it expressly for navigation in the
No, it'd
world
be my
beyond.
birthday. That's right.
I
Look, it's a
certainly
bit
hope
odd
you
looking.
received long jump training because once you're in Zen, you'll need
An egg. I bet some of you might recognize it from an insider video. It is salt. It's there's a company in the Philippines that makes a very specific kind of salt, and you can grind it. This is the pot that it was made in. It's a really nice video on it. Anyway, I tried some of it, and it's excellent. It's made, the salt is made from seawater and boiled coconut rinds or something like that. It takes a long time to make it. They make it in a pot that gets handmade, and they fill it with water over and over and over and over and over again. And as it evaporates, you know, you just get the salt behind. And then they crack the top of the pot open. Here, lick it, please. I'm not licking it, I'm sorry. I give you guys enough horse allegation material. But
All right. I can open the portal now.
egg,
The process is complicated.
salt,
Once it has begun, I
coconut,
must not be
you know,
interrupted or I'll have to
a
start
lot
all
of
over again.
synchronicity.
Don't enter the beam until I give the okay. Understood?
Anyway, it's very neat.
I will begin.
Ashes from the pot. Yes, video about the salt. There you can see. I might have to wash my hands actually. The ashes. I will say, the video was very interesting. Apparently, salt in the Philippines has to be iodized as a way of fighting back against some kind of nutrient deficiency locally, which means that they can't actually sell those eggs locally. They have to sell it to foreigners. So, wash your hands before? Yes, but now I have ashes from the sort of charred pot. Anyway, when I was opening it up, I saw it and had no fucking idea what it was. Obviously, like, its appearance doesn't really lend much, it doesn't really convey much information about the product. And Vermin expected it to have some kind of, like, card explaining what it was. So when I opened it up and had no idea, Vermin was like, wait, hold on. Let me explain. I don't own an umbrella. So don't go outside. What if it rains? I've got jackets with hoods. What was I saying? Oh, by the way, guys, I wanted to give you all an update. That lovely, expensive anthology jacket that I ordered a while ago arrived. I had it opened, and it was, without a doubt, the most beautiful and well-constructed piece of clothing I've ever held in my hands. It also didn't fit me. A peril of ordering stuff from online. I've shipped it back. I'll be getting a larger size. It's fine. Stuff like that happens. I have to pay for shipping, which is a bit much because it goes back to Hong Kong, but, you know, again, whatever. For something that'll last me my entire life. Worth it, certainly. The people at Anthology have been extremely helpful. What about the clothing from China? Well, they're both from China. But yes, I can show you if you like. Here, I'll do that. And then we'll talk about Alexei Navalny. This will take only a second.